We've talked a lot about the services economy, and we've talked about transforming together for a better tomorrow. My next guest is transforming comedy, and he's doing so with empathy, grace, and charity. You can catch his new comedy special, Laugh Your Mask Off, at laughyourmaskoff.com. He wanted me to also introduce him as tall and handsome, which I'll do. Michael Jr., over to you.
You've seen him on The Tonight Show. He's been on TED Talks. You've seen him on Oprah Winfrey. And he's here with you tonight. Put your hands together and welcome to the stage, my man, Michael Jr.
Yo, I am super duper ridiculously excited that I get to be a part of the Partner Summit. I can't even tell you. I am Michael Jr. I get to do jokes and bring folks together. You actually help people be more secure, which is awesome. We're kind of on different ends of the spectrum. Like, you keeping people's life secure, and then I'm talking about how sometimes people are a little insecure. So we on the same team. If it wasn't for me, I'm exposing them, and then you helping them. It's almost like it's almost like somebody rob up somebody's house. This is a horrible example. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like, somebody robs somebody's house, and their partner show up the next day, like, "Hey, we sell alarm systems." That is a really bad example, but it kind of works. You understand what I'm saying, right? Anyway, I'm so pumped I get to be a part of Ignite 2020. We're gonna have a blast. It's time for you to relax, drop your shoulders. You guys have been digging in and really trying to just become better, and you've been making each other better. But now I want you to give yourself permission to just drop your shoulders, relax. We're probably going to learn something more, but we're also going to laugh. So give yourself permission to do that. Go ahead and put your firewalls down. I probably shouldn't say firewall. You probably know what to do that. Anyway, feel secure in the fact that at this point, you get to just sit back and laugh and have some fun. With that being the case, one of my favorite things to laugh about is awkwardness. Check it.
And people will ask me sometimes, Michael Jr., what makes you laugh? What makes me laugh most, really, is awkwardness. Did you feel it just now? Did you feel it? Like, I'll look for awkwardness. Like, I'll get on an elevator when there's like 6 or 7 people in there. I'll let the door close behind me, and I won't turn around. And then I'll say something random like, my shoes are on upside down. And then everyone gets off on the next floor. And then I just giggle my way to the top. It's so much fun. Another thing I do, right? You gotta try this. This is so much fun. Like, I'll use a phrase the right way that most people use the wrong way. It creates awkwardness, and it's so much fun. Let me explain. So I walk up to somebody I don't know. I never met him before in public from a little distance. I walk up to him and I'll say, "Hey there, stranger." Haven't seen you in forever. Then I just walk off. I'm telling you, you gotta try it. It'll be awkward at first. When you go home, you'll be crying. Like, it is the best. It's the best. Yo, something else I did, like, so I grew up in Michigan, right? And it's cold in Michigan, right? Now I live in Dallas, right? And recently I found one of my old ski masks, right? Right? And I like awkwardness and stuff, man. So I just start walking around Dallas with a ski mask on, man. I'm not gonna rob anybody. That's just wrong. I just got a ski mask on, right? Went to the bank, too. Again, I'm not gonna rob anybody. I'm in line like everybody else. Hey, little girl, how you doing? Cool. Reason I went to the bank is because, like, what they gonna do? Have you seen the security guards at the bank? It's like one extreme or another. Some young dude, pimples on his face, he really an insecurity guard. Or it's like a super old dude with like 6 hearing aids, a social security guard. And they never got a gun. They got a walkie-talkie. You're not a security guard. You a tattletale. That's what you are. You're a grown man tattletale. That's what you are. Yo, what about this one, right? You ever been on a job interview and partway through you realize, I don't want to work here? Yo, at that point, don't bail on the interview. You should have fun. Flip the whole interview. They say something like, so tell me a little bit about yourself. You're like, you know what? You go first. Let me ask you a question. Where do you see me in 5 years? Because they always ask those weird questions. They ask questions like, they'll say, so tell me about a time you had a disagreement with a coworker, and then tell me how you worked it out. Like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So I had a colleague who actually took credit for some work I did. Like, they didn't do anything on the project. I fully did it, and they took all the credit. So what I did, right, I walked over to their cubicle, right? And then fast forward, here I am, you know? Yeah.
Hey, Michael Jr., first off, thanks for joining me here. I'm glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm not joining you there. I'm just here and you're there. Just want to be clear that we're social distancing. Just want to make sure.
We are certainly more than 6 feet apart, man. Trust me on that.
Yes.
Hey, a question for you. You know, one of the things that this team and our partners have gone through is this just Zoom fatigue. And one thing that's always impressed me with you is your energy, your enthusiasm, your ability to always engage in the moment. What's your secret?
So there's this thing that I do where I always try to think about the end user. And when I say end user, meaning instead of just looking at, hey, I do comedy and I get to bring laughter, I always think about what that person might be going through and what that laughter could mean to them, as opposed to just thinking about getting the laughs. As soon as I started thinking about giving laughs, it really kind of shifted everything. So even with the partners out there, if you can kind of focus on the end result and the person that you're keeping secure, or even at home, and the fact that your kids need you to provide, like if you can think about the end user in that way, it just changes everything. It naturally gives you some more energy to the point where you're not faking it, like you're really energized because of the results you know you're going to get because of the work you're putting in. So that's why I'm excited. Was that weird?
And where do you draw your inspiration from? You know, when I see the various clips that you do, you know, the YouTube videos, the TED Talks, et cetera, what motivates you as a comedian and as a human?
So it's really close to the same answer, but a little different. So I had a shift that took place on stage one day. A lot of people ask me, when was your big break? And they'll be like, was it The Tonight Show, Jimmy Kimmel? Was it when you were on Oprah? I wasn't on Oprah, but it was her show. The stuff sounds weird if you just take it out of context. Anyway, the big break for me really was outside of a club in Los Angeles, and I'm getting ready to perform. And right before I got on stage, I had a shift that took place. And I felt like instead of doing what I normally would do, which was get laughs from people, I felt like I was supposed to give them an opportunity to laugh. And that literally changed everything, because now I'm not looking to take, I'm looking for an opportunity to give. I'm telling you, anybody watching this right now, partners, hear me out. If you can change your mindset and start asking the question, what can I give, as opposed to what can I get, it changes everything. I was talking to a mechanic at one of my shows, and I was like, so what do you do? And he's like, I'm a mechanic. I'm like, well, what does that mean to you? He said, it means I get paid to fix cars. We chopped it up and started talking a little bit. At the end of the conversation, live in front of like 4,000 people, he stood up and he said, you know what? I actually help people reach their desired destination. Yo, that will put your alarm clock out of business. The other will cause you to hit the snooze. There may be some people right now who are hitting the snooze. So if you make that shift, it changes the game significantly. I'm not even sure if I answered your question. Gotta be rich. I just had fun talking. So.
You more than answered the question, Michael Jr. You know, I know that when you go do your shows, you do something special in each one of the cities you go to that's above and beyond the actual show that you do. I think during these times that we're in now, finding ways to give back to the community is incredibly important. So, you know, can you just spend a minute on what you're doing above and beyond, kind of, you know, your what you're giving career-wise, but what you're giving to the community as well?
Yeah, so I've actually started a nonprofit really because of what happened when I walked out the club that day. When I walked out the club that day and I had that shift in mindset, I go on stage, I'm asking the question, how can I give people an opportunity to laugh? We have a great set. But then when I leave that night, the same club, the same night, I look across the street and I saw a homeless guy. I had never seen a homeless guy outside this club before ever. But that doesn't mean he wasn't there before. That just means before, the question I was asking was, how can I get laughs, or why would I even notice a homeless guy? So I start asking this different question, and I start getting different answers. So I noticed this homeless guy, and I was like, what about him? How could I give him an opportunity to laugh? And then maybe less than a week later, I find myself on Skid Row. That could be taken out of context too. I wasn't on Skid Row. Things didn't go bad all of a sudden. I wasn't funny all of a sudden. So I go to Skid Row, and I'm doing shows for the homeless people on Skid Row. And then now we created this nonprofit called Red Blueprint, where we literally go to prisons and homeless shelters and abused children facilities, because I'm asking the question, how can I give people an opportunity to laugh, as opposed to how can I get laughs? I'm telling you, if you change the question that you're asking, you're going to get some different answers. So you got to be super aware of what question you're asking every single day. So that's what I'm doing. So let me just, in short, that's literally what we're doing. We go to prisons. Some people are like, why you go to prison? It was a captive audience. I just want to say that. We're always looking for those opportunities to make laughter commonplace and uncommon places. So boom.
Thank you for all that you do in that space. During 20 has been a hard year. It's been a hard year for a lot of folks, whether it's the pandemic, whether the racial tensions going on in the country, murder hornets in the Seattle area, wildfires up and down the West Coast. How do you keep yourself motivated in a way that you can inspire others? What's the secret to keeping yourself in a way that you've got that positive attitude and you continually show up and give?
See, that's the thing. 2020 has been hard for a lot of people in a lot of ways, which means, so there was a shoe salesman, you probably heard this story before, where he was going to move to Africa and start selling shoes, but then it was two of them. They went to Africa, and one of them, I'm making most of the story up right now, by the way. They go to Africa, and there's two shoe salesmen, and the first shoe salesman get there and he leaves. He's like, don't nobody wear shoes here. I'm not starting a business here. And the second salesman was like, yo, nobody's got shoes here. I'm going to sell so many shoes. So that's really my mindset, meaning there is a lot of people hurt in 2020, which means there's awesome opportunity. Like, people really, really need to laugh right now. And I can find more opportunities to give in some way. Like, there's always something going on. Listen, I did a show one time in upper California. I think it was Sacramento area. And you never know who's watching. I'm putting this in this book that I'm writing right now. I do this event, and I'm being sensitive. I'm asking the question, what can I give? And we're laughing. Most of the show is 99% laughter. And I haven't shared this story publicly yet. This is the first time. Dude, you getting it out of me, Oprah. I don't know why it goes. Anyway, so this guy, I do an autograph line, and the security comes to my green room, and they said, there's a guy who wants to talk to you. I'm like, well, I know there's a bunch of, okay. And it's like, he really, really, really wants to talk to you. So I walk out there, security's with me. This guy has on he got on like a wife beater, and his eyes are red as if he was high. But then as I examined closer, he wasn't really high. He had been crying. And this is a tough looking dude, white dude, he all tatted up. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And he said, can I talk to you for a second off to the side? And I'm like, I don't know you. I'm a little afraid, but okay. I look fine. So we step to the side, and this dude explains to me that he is a fugitive of the law. And he came to my comedy show because he needed a break from all the pressure. Like, he's wanted in different states other than the one he's currently in. And he's wondering if I would be open to helping him turn himself in. Whoa. Like, two thoughts jump in. Either the comedy show was really bad, or he was moved in such a way because I was asking a different question, which is, what could I give? He was moved in such a way that he said, I really want to get my life together now. So that just blew me back. And then we call the police. He gets in the back of the car, drives off. It's like a movie scene or somewhere. The dude looks back right before the police. Like, it was amazing to me. But that was because that was one opportunity I found in that moment. Right now in 2020, there is so many opportunities. You just got to ask the right question, and you'll be able to deliver. So look in your communities. Partners, please hear me. Look in your communities. When you get in your car, when you get ready to leave, just look around and ask the question, what can I give? And it's okay to give from the hip, but it's a game changer when you give from the heart. So ask the question from here and watch what'll happen. It's pretty dope.
Thanks for that. That's it puts some perspective into my day in, day out job of worrying about profit and loss statements, managing teams, et cetera, when I think about those kind of things. So it's really great. Hey, who inspires you? Maybe it's another comedian. I'm curious, like, what do you find? Who are the individuals you look up to, and who inspires you?
So I really look up to my dad is a big deal for me. Like, he is very he's just an awesome dude. My mom, for real, but my dad as well. And then I also read I read the Bible. That thing is bananas. First of all, that's why I don't want a job. There's a book in there called Job. I don't want that. I don't know if anybody read it before. Anyway, so I do a lot of reading of the Bible, but then my parents, man, just to see what my parents just celebrated 50 years of marriage. So we sent them to Hawaii. It was awesome. But just to know what they've gone through, or should I say what they have grown through, is super, super inspiring to me. And then there's another kid who inspires me a lot, this little boy named Ronan, who did an event at a abused children's facility. And his mom had been abusing him and doing some really hard stuff to him. And one of the things she was doing, she was pulling out his toenails, which sounds crazy, but she was on drugs and all. He comes to my comedy show with his caregiver. He's like 6 years old. And I'm assuming he's in a room where people are laughing for the first time in a long time. And we start doing the show, and in the middle of the show, he gets enough courage. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mention. He had on a Spider-Man costume the whole time because he's afraid of his mom. He uses it to protect himself. In his mind, that's how he protects himself. Well, 20 minutes into the show, he pulls the mask off and says, "My name is Ronan." And everybody is blown away because they know this little boy's story. They know how afraid he is. They've never seen him without the mask before. And he does that in such a courageous way. And his grandmother contacted us maybe 19 months or so ago and to let us know he had not put that mask on again since. So it's those type of stories that really inspire me in a significant way, because to know what he's been through, and now for him to have the courage in a moment just to say, you know what, this is who I am. I'm a step through this. So those things really inspire me significantly.
That's amazing. One of the things that we're working with our partners on is this idea of transformation. And I think to go through that transformation, you have to have and be your authentic self, and understand where you're both giving energy and where you're receiving energy. So I think that's key to my own personal development and development of our partner ecosystem. Any
hey, let me say real quick too, man. Yeah, these are my final words. Wait, I'm not about to get electrocuted, right? That sounds weird. Those are my words. I got other stuff to say. I just want to say that. Anyway, so what I would say is I am actually, this wasn't part of the script, I'm actually authentically impressed with how interested you guys are in the people who work with you. What I mean is even you've taken some, like most of the time, I'll only get questions about comedy, hate before, but you guys are really being purposeful about going to that next level with these people. And that stuff is enjoyable to see. Like, you guys really care. And I don't have to say this. In fact, I already got my check, unless right? Did it clear? Yeah. So we're already good. I just want to point that out. But I am very impressed with how authentically concerned you are about making your people, your partners better, man. So hats off to you. Well, hair off to you. But if I had a hat, I would take it off too. So for real, good stuff, man. Really good stuff.
Yeah, our partners are key to our success in every way, shape, and form when we think about the company, whether it's a reselling of our product, whether it's supporting our customers with our product, whether it's rolling out these solutions to large enterprises, or making sure that people are secure at home.
Yeah.
Recently
okay, that's enough. Yeah, you're overdoing it now. You're overdoing it. That's enough.
Am I going too far?
No. I want to hear. Recently, you did what? I wanted to get you back from the intro earlier. Earlier. No. The intro earlier where you said he wants me to call him handsome. I saw what you did there. What are some initiatives? What are you guys working on right now?
A bunch of things have happened because of the pandemic. If you look at the idea that everybody had to go home and work, there was just a tremendous amount of partners who jumped on board with us to help support those folks when they were home in their own environment. Another partner, as an example, stood up a remote hospital in the Chicago area that had to be stood up in 72 hours to handle COVID patients, and secured that. So, when I look at the good partner community, it's amazing.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm saying. Now, I love those stories. That stuff gets me excited. Because the way comedy works is there's a setup and there's a punchline. But the way life works is there's a setup and there's a punchline. Your setup is about what you have received, but your punchline is about what you're called to deliver. And a lot of people know their setup. They're married, they got this house, they're educated, they got this understanding, but not everybody understands their punchline or how to deliver. So in the case you just mentioned, where he takes on his own time and creates this facility for people like a makeshift hospital, that's him using his setup to deliver a punchline to people. And that's what it's all about. Everyone has a punchline to deliver. And I really enjoy hearing those stories where someone has delivered. So that's awesome.
You know, I love that setup and punchline commentary. I've actually used that with my children several times, Michael Jr., so you know, over the years to help them think about it.
Oh, cool.
But you know, one thing
So
about
let me guess what that sounds. Let me guess what that sounds like with the kids, right? You're like, hey, the setup was you didn't do your homework. The punchline is this belt. So bring it. I don't know how you use it. I don't know for sure if that's it. I'm just.
You're awfully close. You're awfully close. You know, one of the things that 20's brought us, I think, is a very common story around the punchline. Almost everybody or everybody I talk to now has the pandemic as part of their setup. They
Yes.
They have the things that they've gone through as part of their setup. So that's actually, in some ways, giving people a more of a common setup that leads to a punchline around the personal growth.
Absolutely. Even our setbacks are part of our setup so we can deliver the punchline. The further you've been set back, the further you can reach. Like, that's amazing. I completely agree with that completely. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love how we're on the same page with these things. It's great.
Michael Jr., this has been so much fun for me, man. I really appreciate you taking the time and joining us for this.
Yo, you guys are awesome, man. Way to pour into your partners, like, for real. And I mean that on the real.
Thank you.